Live right about now. Welcome back to episode 198 of Tallboy Radio. And as we occasionally say, who knows where it goes when the gin flows? And that is a little bit of a clue about what we'll be talking about tonight. It'll be another spirited episode. So before I introduce our guests, plural, I'll say hello to Gaz, who will be pleased to hear we won't be circling around in the bowels of the Conservative Party this week.
Evening all, evening the world. Yes, thanks for that little introduction, Adam. For those of you that weren't with us last week, I suggest you go back and have a listen. It was all good fun, but really looking forward to this episode. Adam's sort of given us a little bit of a teaser as to who we might have on, and each of the times we've had these guests on, it's been an absolute hoot. We thoroughly enjoy having them on, so I'm really looking forward to this.
Indeed, and we can't introduce the host without David from 2013 or 2008. The year is undetermined. David?
Thanks, Adam. Yeah, it's great to be here. And a little sort of insider information for all the people out there, that my favourite bit of recording this podcast is the sort of 20 to 30 minutes in the green room before we go live. I just love it. The conversation just
Folks, I don't know whose green room is in, but it ain't ours. So we've got two groups of guests tonight. So we've had them on before. We've looked at gin. We've talked about gin, and tonight they're going to be reviewing gin. It could go horribly wrong because the guy who's also on with us made the gin. But first, let's say hello to the Scottish Alchemists.
Hi. Good evening.
I'll let the older one go first. She can introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Jenny from the Scottish Alchemists.
I'm Joyce from the Scottish Alchemists, or as we were calling ourselves on Saturday at the Gin to My Tonic show after several gins in. I think we introduced ourselves as we're the Scottish arseholes. Oh no, sorry, Scottish
Yeah, after a few gins in, I think that was an apt description.
Who are we to comment? We don't want to get ourselves in trouble with this, with the nation of Scotland. And then finally, we're joined by Matt as well, who we well know has made some fantastic gins, and we've sent some north of the border tonight to be tested.
Yes, good evening, everybody. It's nice to be back. Thanks for asking me back. And I hope the gins meet the Scottish Alchemists' approval. We shall see.
Oh.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will.
No pressure.
Nothing like a good live taste session.
That's it.
What could possibly go wrong?
Well, there's plenty probably knowing us when we get together on a podcast, but you never know.
Yeah.
I've got my finger on the exit button. Don't you worry.
And we'll also say good evening to Paul as well, who's watching, who's also north of the border. So tonight, as you well know, if you're familiar with the Tallboy Radio podcast, when we've done gin, we've always added a little bit of something to our glasses as well. So we'll touch base with that first. So tonight, myself and Gaz are drinking the Tallboy Radio Negroni. So it's one I've made myself. I'm actually a bit of a Negroni convert, but we've had the banana. I know, I apologize. We've had the banana dolphin. We've had the chocolate robin, but tonight we have the marzipan Ralph Wiggum.
What?
What?
You have exceeded yourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, we've exceeded. Yeah, so
That's actually a bit scary.
Is that a bit edible?
and I will share a picture of that on our Instagram. So Matt, just to be clear on that one, you said the what? We like to decorate our glasses with something a little bit random. So I have made a couple of Ralph Wiggums out of marzipan. Now you can eat them if you want. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. The pen that I've used to create the hair is
Excellent.
Very
consistent as well in the quality. Yes, something like that. Very good.
Absolutely, yeah. And we maybe should explain that they're more decorations and garnishes, because none of the garnishes that we use actually complement the gin at all, do they?
Well, I don't know, marzipan might go well
Not
with the
since the
Negroni.
banana.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you going to go next, Jenny, or?
Okay, I'm going to go next because I need to do this before I have too much to drink. So, live on air, I am going to toast
Always.
Oh,
my
my
goodness.
marshmallow garnish. Now, I was practicing with this last
All right.
and it worked fine. But my husband was getting very nervous because he's like, "You're in my study. Don't set fire to anything."
For those of you that are listening and not watching this on YouTube, Jenny is literally setting fire to a marshmallow in the house.
It's a huge big match.
To
I
be fair-
expected a kind of gun thing. I thought like creme brulee.
I've gone very old school. It's leftover Halloween ghost marshmallows. And
Nice.
they are going to sit beautifully on my.
Oh,
look,
wow.
I've got a tall boy glass
Wow.
that I made
Wow.
myself.
Look at
That
that.
Wow.
I made
Look at that.
myself because nobody ever sent me one.
No, me
So
too.
there we go.
Look
I
at that.
thought I'd
Have-
make one too. Yeah.
Have
It's like-
label will travel. Look at that.
Yes.
That's it. You know,
So-
that does look particularly good. Now, I promise you, we will make them. The point I should make actually is my wife makes the glasses, so it's really a nudge in her direction. I've got a feeling I'm going to be in trouble when Matt shows us his glass. So, Jenny, or Joyce, sorry, tell us about what you've done.
Well, on my tall boy glass tonight, I've got a wee Scottish thistle because let's face it, we've all had a drink with a few pricks before in our time. So I thought we'd have a drink with a wee prick tonight. So,
or three.
Oh, yeah.
Matt, that excluded you, by the way. There's
Yeah.
three of us before you
Yeah,
start
just to
getting
be
it. Just to be clear.
yeah. So yeah, that's one of my garnishes tonight, and I've got my tall boy gin in here. So I've got a different garnish for the Alsager gin.
I also
very
have a
nice.
different garnish, but there's a bit of a theme with my garnishes, but it's slightly
Oh,
different.
interesting.
There's also a
Interesting.
terrible smell of burning in this room.
Yeah.
Hold on, flame and alcohol. What could possibly go wrong?
Quite rightly so. So, Matt, then, get me in trouble. Share your
Oh.
glass.
Can you see that? The old tall boy glass there?
Yes,
guys?
we
Yeah.
see that. We see that.
Generally has beer in it normally, but I've made the join the gin tasting for tonight.
That's
There you
very,
go. There you go.
nice tall boy radio branded glass, Matt. Where did you get
Yeah.
that from?
Well, it got
Oh,
to
yeah. Listen.
I popped around to somebody's house and it was there waiting for me.
But it was given to you as a gift for being a
was.
guest on the podcast.
And if you don't mind me saying, Dave, I think the letter T is coming off, so it's going to soon be all boy radio.
Which is a completely different podcast.
A very different podcast.
So Adam and Gaz, so why has Matt got a really nice tall boy radio glass and Jenny and Joyce have had to basically print, cut out and stick on theirs?
Steam off
Steam off.
the bottle.
Steam off.
We had to steam it off the miniature.
Listen,
Ah,
Yep.
It off. Wow, look at
Yep.
that.
And
You need to
steam
take
it.
this.
I'll have them bottles back.
Send them back in the post.
that's it. You can reuse them.
Waste not, want not.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll have a word with Kim. She's been stalling on this.
Yeah, come on,
glasses.
Kim, pull your
She
finger out.
needs to get her together. She's upstairs. Dude. Just keep your voice down.
Kim, do not take the blame. We know.
No. Oh, listen, she won't. Trust me. She won't. Trust me. So the purpose of this podcast, like I say, when we ever come across some fantastic gins, we always think of you guys. Glassware, not so much. But when we see a fantastic gin, we always want to share it with you. So we shared the Edge gin with you as well.
Yeah.
And this one, obviously, we were honoured. We've had Matt on the podcast, and God bless him, he made a Tall Boy Radio podcast gin, and it was sold at the Alsager Carnival here. I bought some as well. Probably the only one to buy some, but that's by the by. But we wanted you guys to try it because it is a fantastic gin. So Matt, did you want to tell us a little bit about the process about it? Tell us about the botanicals and everything that went into it as well.
Yeah, I can list out the botanicals, and it was actually a gin we make for a company up the road, and when we bottle it, you never have full, accurate. You always have a bit left over. So literally, I've bottled that for you. So it's the gin we do for the military arms in Sandbach. So it was just a little bit left over. So I thought I'd put in some miniatures, do a quick label, drop them off at your house. And that was really it. The recipe. If you want to see the recipe, we have obviously the obligatory juniper berries, and then we have coriander seeds that Joyce guessed on earlier, and we have cardamom, we have cubeb pepper, angelica root, licorice root, orris root, and cassia bark. That is the recipe for that gin.
Mm.
And if you buy the military arms gin, the recipe's all over that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And is it 42% ABV?
It
is
is.
that?
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, it's quite a strong one. It's nice.
Mm.
Yeah, we
So-
generally I think that might be the weakest gin we actually produce at 42. We're generally a bit higher than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Did you
the
know
flavor
that was-
flavor profiles would generally sort of dissipate the more water you put into it.
Yep. Yeah.
So we keep the strength quite high.
Nice.
I was just going
What-
to say, Jenny, did you know that was 42% from tasting it?
I wish I could say yes.
That was in the green room earlier, Dave, but obviously you were too busy having fun elsewhere to pick that bit up.
No, I looked at the label and it said 42%.
Okay.
I'd be worried if it wasn't 42%. I'd be scrambling
God,
now.
I would be
Oh,
good if
God.
I could tell the ABV just by a few sips. I'd be good. I wouldn't be on here, I tell you that.
What are you trying to say?
Yeah, sure, we should take that. But yeah, one of the reasons that Matt also chose this gin is because the last time he was on and we talked about the Alsager gin. I'm very, very fond of that gin, but I like a gin with lots of coriander in it. And this one, like you say, the coriander in it, you can really taste the profile. So, guys, we'll open it up to you and let you give you your opinion. And please be kind because he is on the podcast.
So I'm Carol and I, the other alchemist, the one that isn't here. We were judges this year for the Gin Cooperative Scottish Gin Awards,
Okay.
which was fascinating because although Carol and, well, we all have completely different palates and we're quite upfront about that, to actually have criteria to drink and taste to was fascinating. We learned loads, and actually it was also quite hard work, and it took about 45 minutes to do each one. So I thought I'd do the tall boy one just like I did for the Scottish Gin Awards. So first of all, you do it neat and nose first. So nose, I got citrus and juniper, very strong coming through. Mouthfeel neat, very oily, which is good because it really coats the mouth. It was so good and oily that I'm saying to my husband, put this in your mouth, put it in your mouth. Feel how much it coats. Superb. Absolutely really great mouth coating. Neat, the taste, I found it spicy, warm. I found it cinnamony with an undercurrent of orange on the swallow. So a wee citrus kick on the swallow. With tonic, yes, the nose was, the coriander opened up as soon as you put the tonic in.
Yeah.
So on the nose, I really got the coriander as soon as I added the tonic. The mouthfeel was, again, the oily consistency stayed, which was good. It wasn't watered down by the tonic at all. So a really good coating that stayed long. Again, coriander, warm, autumn flavour, spicy. And I said it had a lingering citrus swallow. So you got that citrus, but it actually stayed. It didn't dissipate too quickly. So all in all, for me, this is a classic autumn gin. I would want it now. I'd either garnish it with orange or maybe a wee cinnamon stick. But to be honest, doesn't need any garnish. It's really good as it is. So I am loving the Tall Boys gin. Thank you.
Oh, we may have to buy a bigger, make a bigger bottle and next time.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I tell you
Maybe
what
check.
it doesn't need is toasted marshmallows. Definitely doesn't need that. That doesn't really go with anything. But I felt there was something that I couldn't quite put my finger on. But I think you mentioned the cardamom, and I think for me there was that je ne sais quoi. So needless to say, I wasn't a judge because I couldn't be bothered. 45 minutes to drink a 5 milliliter. Nah.
You were the other side of the desk, you just literally glugging it away.
Yeah,
That's what
I was like, this isn't for me. So no, but that for me, I don't know if you've ever tasted Tanqueray Malacca.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
It's
amazing.
A little bit. It's not like it because Tanqueray Malacca, depending on what you put in it, changes dramatically. So you can put what am I trying to think? A rosy rose petal garnishing, and it makes it very floral. And you put in cardamom pods, and it makes it quite like this. But this is still very distinctive. I think this is a lot warmer than the Tanqueray Malacca. And as you say, it's the licorice for me, the licorice root for me, and the cardamom that I get. I don't get the citrus, but I don't have a citrus palate at all. So yeah, I really, really liked it. But I got different from you, Joyce. Yeah, I got the warmth coming from the cardamom and the licorice root.
Joyce, when you say it's got an oily taste, I mean, there's not oil in it, is there?
No, it's an oily texture. So the mouth feel, it feels oily, which is good for a gin. You want it to feel oily, and you want it to also look oily. So if you pour it into your glass and swirl it around, you want it to coat the glass a little bit, because that will stay, that flavour of the gin, the oil will stick to your mouth and stay, so you'll keep tasting it for longer. So it feels oily. So mouthfeel is one of the judging categories, which I'd never really taken into account before. But when you really stop and take your time to swirl it around, hold it, Jenny, aye, and just hold it in your mouth and then move it around, but you can feel it really coating. So neat, it really coats the mouth. It's a lovely, smooth, velvety, oily texture.
So what makes it feel like that as opposed to just drinking water, say?
Well, I don't do the distillery stuff, so I don't know all the technical bits. Carol, the chemist, would be able to have a great discussion with you, Matt.
I'm sure Matt might be able to tell you.
I don't know, but that's what I want, because quite often when I was tasting the gins, I'd go, oh God, that's watery. And it literally washes and goes, oh, gone. Or there was one gin I tasted and the mouthfeel was dry. It sucked my cheeks in. It was horrible. So I want an oily gin. I don't know if that is a criteria you're striving for, Matt, is it? I don't know.
Well, we sat down with the guys who we make it for, and they wanted a London dry gin, sort of they were looking really for sort of more of a juniper forward London dry, which I think is getting that oily sort of flavour is from the junipers predominantly in the still. But it's very interesting you point out that citrus, you got citrus, but there isn't actually any citrus in this gin. Whereas our core Sandbach gin that we make is just full of citrus. So it's a real contrast between the two flavour profiles. Obviously.
And as I say, it's a very low undercurrent of citrus. So I don't know. Sometimes I have a wee bit of a kind of synesthesia. I would describe gins as colour, and that's a definitely kind of orangey colour, an autumny colour.
Okay. Yeah.
So, whereas the other one that I've tried is not the same colour. It's a different colour to me.
That's interesting. That is interesting when you're describing that sort of synesthesia way. What I will say is, so, you know, I've said in the past, I'm not the biggest fan of Negronis because basically the gin isn't the star of the show. So I'm drinking a Negroni tonight, which is made with the Tallboy Radio gin. And the one thing I would say about this is I love when I mix it with the tonic, you get that coriander taste. And that's one thing I said to Matt about his gin, and he's all said, you know, I think absolutely fantastic. But when you mix it in a Negroni, it does change the flavor of it. And I get a real citrusy taste with this one. You know, I would almost say, you know, I was leaning more towards wintry than autumnal, but I know exactly what you're saying. And you do get that flavor of this, don't you, Gazza?
Yeah. And you see, I'm not a huge, and I probably said on the last time the Alchemists were with us, I'm not a huge gin drinker. So my palate for gin isn't even as good as yours, and certainly nowhere near Joyce's and Jenny's and Matt's, obviously. So, but there's definite. I would say, rather than being orange, I would say it's like an autumnal, like a browny orangey.
Yeah.
That, if I was going to describe it as a color, it would be that. I don't get loads of floral. Don't get loads of citrus. I can get the aroma. I get a little bit cinnamony, and I can get that in when in the aroma.
That may come from the cassia bark, which is a certain kind of a cinnamon sort of in that whole bog.
So yes, but I mean that's easily for somebody that doesn't drink a vast amount of gin as a Negroni. That's lovely, really really pleasant.
Yeah.
It could also come from the marzipan that was.
No, I made sure I actually tasted from the other side of the glass, so it's not that.
It's too late. You've already rimmed the glass. You've already done your rimming. So.
Well, we got through 20 minutes.
The odds are against making 20 minutes without rimming coming up.
I know. We have tried to like Negronis. We really have.
Yeah.
I tell you.
So tell me what's in your Negroni. How did you make it?
So
can I just ask, Adam, before you start, what the heck is a Negroni?
He's about to tell you.
Negroni is a gin-based cocktail, okay? And if you're going to make it a cocktail at home, I'm going to tell you now, this is one of the easiest cocktails you can make because it is fit. So it's got 50 centiliters of, not 50 centiliters, 5 centiliters, 50 millimeters of gin in it, sorry. And the same measurement of a Rosso vermouth, and then the same measurement again of Campari. So that's what's in the Negroni. I can tell you, I've been drinking a lot of Negronis recently, and I'm loving them. It was one of those ones when I first tasted it. I like the taste, but being a fan of gin, I wasn't a fan that the gin wasn't the star of the show. But the more you get used to them, the more you get the little nuances of the different gin. So I had some which I had a bottle of Gordon's knocking around, and I made some with that. And then I've got a bottle of this as well, guys. We're going to hold it up to the camera there, which is a bottle of Forge gin, which again is a winter themed gin, which was if you're a member of the Craft Gin Club, that is the gin for this month. And I've got to tell you, it was really really good in a Negroni. So,
see, I think the reason you're liking them is because you're drinking a lot of them and you're actually just pissed all the time. Because alcohol with more alcohol. That is basically a Negroni.
just keep layering the alcohol. Just keep putting more on.
You've caught me out.
I really love that Negroni. I'm going to have another one. I think that.
Well, you see,
the clue is there's a bottle of gin just by the side of his chair. That's his work office.
Yeah, it's been another productive day in the office today. But no, you're 100% right.
It's interesting because I've had some, and I've seen people making, and you can make Negronis with all sorts of different ingredients. So obviously the red vermouth is the one, and then you can make it with Campari or you can make it with different bitters. But I've seen people making Negronis with really, like that Forged and like your own gin, really, really nice gin. And I think, God, that's a waste of a nice gin. I think it does have an impact on the end result of the Negroni, but for me, it's a waste of a good gin.
Me too.
I know. I'm not going to convince you guys. I knew I was going to go up against the battle tonight.
Losing battle there, dude.
Absolutely. I'll tell you one person who we have delivered a bottle of the Tallboy Radio Gin to. I'd be interested to know if he's tasted it. David?
That silence is deafening.
No, because I don't drink, and I was saving it until such time as I do drink again.
Very good. Very good. You could have just made it up and we wouldn't have known.
You could just have said, I didn't like it.
to be honest, I probably could taste it. I was, it's not gin, but my brother lives in America, in Illinois, and he sent over some beers. And at the weekend, we had a load of friends around. I've been waiting for someone to come around who does drink so we could try these beers. And it was the s'mores milk stout and the mint stout. and they were absolutely disgusting. So when I say I don't drink, I you know, I'm not some kind of purist, alcohol AA sort of non-drinker. I just don't drink. So I tasted them, but God, they were vile.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's why I'm not tasting the gin, by the way, Matt.
There's no mint in it. Don't worry about that.
Maybe there should be a gin with some mint in it.
Well,
now there is a gin with mint in it.
Go on.
Yeah.
What's it
So
called?
Aracher gin. So if you were on, oh no, you wouldn't hit Aracher on your way up to Inverness. So it's the top of Loch Lomond. It's a place called the Slange. You can stop for a meal. You can park your motorhome, anything like that. They make their own gin, and it was called Aracher Alps gin.
Yes, Aracher Alps. Yep. Yep.
So we got a bottle. I really liked it.
Jenny's like, nah.
No, because do you know, I don't know how else to describe this. It tasted to me like earth. You know when you're wee and you make mud pies out of like dirt in the garden? That's what it tasted like.
Too much gin, Jenny, I think.
Not enough gin. Not enough.
More mint, less gin.
It wasn't nice.
So
I don't know. It could have been that I didn't have enough tonic. I might have had too much tonic, actually. I might have had too much tonic in it. I don't know. And to be fair, I only had one drink of it, so I didn't get a chance to sample anymore. But nah, it just wasn't for me. But it could have been my proportions.
Other than the obvious answer that it potentially waters down the gin, for perhaps the uninitiated listener, how would you describe the relationship between the gin and the tonic? Because obviously certain tonics are designed to bring out certain flavors of the gin, and in terms of the amount of tonic, because you go to some places and what they do is you have a gin and then you have a tonic and the bartender goes and then literally tips whole lot, and you're like, no, don't do that sort of thing.
Exactly.
So if you could just explain to maybe people that don't understand that the sort of relationship between the tonic and the gin.
So ideally you should have 1 part gin, 2 parts tonic.
Right.
So depending on whether you've got a 25 cl measure or a 50 or whatever, that's the proportions. Not most people, a lot of people find that quite strong, that the gin still comes through. But if you've got a good gin, that's what you want. You want the flavors of the gin to come through. Personally, personally as in a collective, Scottish Alchemists, whenever we're doing our events, etc., we use a light gin. We always use Schweppes. And we like that because it does let the flavors come through of the gin, because normally the gins that we're using are premium gins. They're really craft distillers, really unusual gins, and we don't want them drowned by floral tonics, Mediterranean tonics, lemon-based tonics, whatever. So we always try and use something that's just really, really light, that will let the gin come through. But you're absolutely right. A barman pouring a whole bottle of tonic, and especially if it's a bottle of something like Fever Tree, which is a big big bottle. Oh God, that breaks my heart.
But actually,
you can
because
easily
that bottle of Fever Tree, if you're getting a 50, what am I saying, a 50 cl serve, that bottle of Fever Tree is 200. So it should do 2 50 cl serves. And if you're only getting a wee 25, then it should do 4 drinks. And a barman is tipping that into one measure. Oh, God.
And what you see the great big gin glasses. Yeah, sorry, Matt, go on.
No, you're just saying you destroy the flavour profile. So all of the craft that's gone into it is just thrown out to the window, because you've drowned it with a tonic, generally a generic one. So
and then we get people coming to events and going, "Oh, I don't like a gin and tonic because it's too tonicky." But that's because every gin they've had's been drowned in tonic, probably by some uneducated bar persons. So.
And in terms of ice, so obviously you go to some places and you see, your big goblet sort of glasses, so your gin glasses, and what you'll do is you'll have a couple of berries in there, maybe you'll have a gin in there, then the barman will go, there you go, there's the whole tonic, and then they'll throw some ice in there as well, and all of a sudden you've got this like perhaps one shot of gin, and you've got a huge great big sort of goblet glass, and you're like, really, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
would you? I mean, ice? Yes, no, or
Oh yeah,
Yes, yes,
definitely.
because it opens up the flavour profile as well.
Right.
Mhm.
When I can, I would keep the gin that I'm currently drinking in the fridge.
So that lasts about 10 minutes, yeah.
Sorry.
So that bottle lasts
Correct.
about 10 minutes, then you go
Yeah,
to the next one, and you just got to literally
yeah,
just a conveyor belt.
Absolutely. That is it. Keep forgetting I've given myself away on previous shows.
we know you so well now, Jenny. There's no hiding here.
But yeah, because again, it opens up the sort of flavour profile. So yes, ice in the right quantities, but not so much that it's going to melt. And then you're left with a glass of water and tonic and a tiny
Yeah.
bit of gin.
Yeah.
And not so little that it doesn't chill the drink. So we always joke where I live in the town of Peebles that there's an ice shortage because you literally go into a bar and they give you 2 bits of ice and your gin and tonic. And I'm like, I said, an ice shortage in Peebles, who knew? So I've always got to ask for more ice because they haven't got enough. It 2 bits lasts 2 minutes and
Right.
it's chilled, it's not opened up. And the
So-
drink's warm before you know it. But just going back to the tonic, we were at the Gin to My Tonic show on Saturday, and there's a distiller there who really introduced us to craft gins with his beautiful gin. And he said, "Oh, I've just got some new mixers on board. Try this gin with these new mixers."
God.
Oh my God, it killed one of our favourite gins.
He destroyed his own gin.
Uh-huh.
Really?
Destroyed his own gin by putting a cranberry and ginger tonic in it.
Mixer.
And it's a beautiful craft gin that's aged in oak caskets. It is a stunning gin, and he just destroyed it.
Mhm.
And you're like,
Wow.
oh my God.
All of our gins are made to be drank on their own. The initial
Yep.
product is produced in that way, and then the
Brilliant.
tonic, we work out what tonic goes best
Uh-huh.
after we're happy with the recipe. So
Yeah.
we make it as though it could be drunk on its own.
Yeah.
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 That's
And
perfect.
I
And
can
you find ones
tell,
that
I can tell you, I've tried a number of Matt gins, and that is true from all. And we'll probably get to the Christmas spirit one that he made a bit later that he was kind enough to drop off on the weekend for me to try as well. And I've got to tell you, that one was absolutely fantastic. But interesting to say, when we go back to what you were saying there in terms of the gin to the tonic mix. So I was over in Texas in the summer with my cousin. I took a bottle of the Alsager gin over there, the full-size one. I promised Matt that I would. And so there is a bottle there sat in my cousin's bar in San Antonio in Texas. So my wife said, go on, mix one for us. And when I mixed it to that exact ratio. 1 part gin, 2 parts tonic. I said, no, that's not how you do it. It's like, trust me, that is when you really get the flavour of the gin coming through.
Yep.
And that Alsager gin as well, for me, I think is a phenomenal one. I've said before, it is way up there. If I was going to make a list of my top 5 gins, that one is absolutely in it. So, as I smoothly segue onto the next gin that you've got
Right, hang
there.
on. I need to add my ice to my Alsager gin.
I've put my ice in. I've got no more wanky big ice cubes. I'm in normal size ice cubes now.
So you finish? No, I won't say that.
No, do not say that. You never even noticed.
I do have a new garnish though.
Okay, let's hear about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
that's cool.
Quite similar to my second garnish that I now seem to have lost somewhere.
It can be a dog, it can be a polar bear, it can actually be whatever you want, but it sure as hell won't actually go with any gin. I'm sure.
What's it made of, Joyce?
Oh, yep. Here's mine. Mine
So it's
is.
made of- Hang on a minute, you.
All right.
It's made of marshmallow with cut up licorice, all sorts for his nose and eyes and ears.
Wow, brilliant.
And just so I'm clear, because the people listening won't know that you guys are just putting daft things in your gin. But what's the point of that? Why are you
We're
doing
not
that?
putting them in our gins. We would
Wow.
not ruin the gin.
So we like to play a game on Instagram, and we use a hashtag called Garnish Watch because there's so many, as Jenny would say, wanky garnishes in gins that do not enhance the gin or
Like that.
don't enhance the flavour of the gin, and people put them on and go, oh my God, isn't that amazing? Yeah, but how are you going to drink that? Because something like this would poke your eye out. Yeah,
And it doesn't enhance the gin. So mine was a
Yeah.
similar little marshmallow pumpkin, which I'm not going to toast because the smell of burning is actually too much. And it is, I'll be sick. But that's you don't want me to be sick live on the
No,
Ideally not.
No, preferably not. I even might get a
Leave me
few more
alone.
watches. I suppose.
So is there ever proper garnishes that you
Yes.
can have?
Oh
in
yes.
gin?
Yep.
So this is what we do in our tastings. We give people 2 garnishes. We give them the choice of 2. We teach them how to taste the gin. So at the very start, when we were in the green room, you won't remember that, Mac, David, because you didn't turn up. But well, when we were in the green room and we were talking with Matt about the flavours, so we taste it. We don't ever tell anybody what the botanicals are. You know, people will say, "What are the botanicals? What's in it?" And we'll say, "Well, you taste it, and we'll teach you how to work out what flavours you get. And from the flavours you get, because everybody's palate's different, we'll give you 2 garnishes. One will dial up something and one will dampen down something." So a classic one we used at a 50th birthday party. We always use craft gins. We always use high quality gins, except when it's a 50th birthday party and they're just wanting to get lathered. So we used Whitley Neal rhubarb and was it rhubarb and ginger or something like that?
Ginger ale, something like that. Yeah.
One of these flavoured gins. And we took raspberries and we took mint. So we got them to taste it and they, "Oh yeah, I like that because it tastes a bit sweet, it's a bit this." Right. So if you like the sweetness, pop in the raspberries. If you don't like the sweetness, pop in the mint. 2 completely different gins. And they were absolutely astounded because your garnish will change the flavour of it. So that's what we do in our tastings. We will teach you to taste and then to choose the right garnish. So I've got my husband really well trained. He goes into any pub and says, "Joyce will have this, no garnish," because they never get it right. They throw lemon and lime in everything. And if it's a berry gin, you just don't want lemon and lime in that. So I would prefer to have a gin with no garnish rather than something that killed my gin. So yeah, get your garnish right. Don't use it for photographic porpoises.
So stop being a tosser and
Yes.
use something sensible.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Solid advice.
Oh, this is a lovely gin.
This
So
is-
the Alsager gin. So my husband went to Crewe Alsager College.
Oh, did he? Right.
Yeah, and he said to me, "Do you want me to get my Alsager rugby top out and you can put it on?" And I said, "Not so much." From
When was that from? Like 1990...
Careful, Gary. Careful.
1997? Right.
He graduated
2008?
in 85.
Yeah.
And I said, "Where is it?" He said, "Oh, it's out in the shed."
Oh, in that case.
Yeah, where it belongs.
Well, what he did say was he's going to put your gin on the Crewe and Alsager College Facebook page.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Okay.
brilliant.
I
That's
shall keep an
exactly
eye out.
what all the old students will be into. So yeah.
Oh, very good.
Your
Thank you.
father and sons will be drinking that, won't they? The old sort of the ritual of past members of the college and the university campus. They would come back and they would have a father and sons, and it's basically just to piss up. And if you didn't want to drink it, and you'd say, "Right, son, come on," you and basically all the newbies, all the first years, they would just end up having to eat various things and drink various things, and there was a hierarchy. So there was a son, there was a dad, there was a granddad, there was a great granddad, and whenever you wanted to drink something, it's like, "Actually, you know what? I don't fancy that. Right, you can drink it," and then somebody else would go, "No, I don't fancy that. You drink it," and it was always a son at the bottom that ended up just drinking everything. It was horrendous, and it got banned. It got banned in Alsager just because there were so many people who were ill and pubs banned father and sons and everything. It was horrendous. So if he was part of that, then fair play to him. But if back in the day, he definitely would have taken part in that. Absolutely.
Do you know, I don't know if that was a PE college thing, because I was at an all-girls PE college and it was the same with us. I had a mother, a granny and a great granny.
Absolutely, yeah. And it just filters down. And if you're in the first year, then, yeah, good luck with that. Good luck surviving the night.
And your granny will take you home, don't worry. So.
Daddy now. So go on then. Tell us about this Alsager gin. I'd love to hear your opinions on that.
Jenny, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go?
Well, you know I'm the uneducated one, right? So I think that's. I cannot put my finger on it, but the tonic changes it completely. And do you know what I get when I put the tonic in it? I get like a chocolatey undertone. And I've got wee chocolate nibs down the stairs that come from another gin. And I think if I put that in it, it would draw that right out. But again, there's a real oily finish to it, a real lingering taste in the mouth. Oh, God, there's something really strong at the front that I can't put my finger on, though. And again, I want to say, is there licorice root in it again? I don't know. But it's a stronger one than the last one, definitely. I feel it packs a wee bit more punch.
It's 44.
It's fab.
44. So it. Do you want me to tell you what's in it?
No. I want
no,
Joyce to have a go
no.
first. I want Joyce to have a go first.
Okay.
Go
Come
on,
on,
Joyce.
Joyce.
Go on, Joyce.
Okay. So neat on the nose, juniper, coriander, and the colour. It's green. This is a green gin.
I don't get it.
Because it's herby. It's herby. So on the mouth, it's again oily, a really good coating, and it's a savoury, warm feel in the mouth. The taste neat, herby, wee bit peppercorny, wee bit cardamom-y. When I added the tonic, I felt it softened it and opened it up, and then I got much more of a coriander hit with the tonic. It felt much softer, and just the last mouthful I took there, I went, oh, cucumber, just soft green underneath. Do you know, I would be tempted to put a wee bit cucumber in that as one of the garnishes. I'd put a wee bit cucumber in. My second garnish.
You'd be wrong. No, you'd be wrong there.
I've never tried it with cucumber. But,
no, just that very last mouthful. It was a kind of soft. I don't know how to describe it. A soft green herby, and I just suddenly thought, oh, cucumber. That's a nice, soft, gentle taste. So I'm not sure. I'd experiment with cucumber. I'm not sure what I should put in as my second garnish, but to me that is a herby. It's a savoury gin. I'd quite like to have that with a curry.
Yeah, I could see it with a curry. Right, Matt, go on, tell us.
Well, you've said the word there, curry. It is very much coriander forward, to almost the same level as juniper in the still, just shy of the juniper quantity. So give you the idea of the amount of coriander that's gone in there. Right. It is packed full of coriander. The other ingredients, much stripped back, are angelica, licorice, and orris root with cassia bark. So it's very similar recipe to the previous gin. But in this case, it is far more coriander forward. It hasn't got the cardamom in it,
right?
And the strength is that couple of percent higher. So it just gives it more punch.
Yep, I definitely wouldn't use marshmallow as a garnish.
Right off that.
I don't think I'm going to be using marshmallows as a garnish again. Full stop. I don't think after that.
I'm
going to put my matches away now as well.
Yeah, it's such a smooth gin too. It's so easy to drink.
It is a very smooth gin. So sometimes you know what it's like when you dial up the ABV. Sometimes some gins get a little bit rough, but not at all. It's beautifully smooth. Do you do a navy strength gin as well at Winding River?
No, we've not really tackled that.
That would be interesting.
The Christmas gin is at 48%, and that's as strong as we go. That's as strong as we go. We should really tackle a navy strength gin.
Yeah, because the sort of profile of these two, I think, would lend itself to a nice, smooth navy strength.
Yeah,
just obviously it would pack a lot more of a punch, but
it's something we should be tackling. Really, a navy strength gin. Most distilleries do one.
So, but just in course, these are good enough. Yeah.
Absolutely.
This was a recipe we developed quite a few years ago, and it's kind of been parked. So we wanted to do an Alsager gin. Felt it would be a good idea with a lot of events there, that kind of thing. So we dug it back out, give it another go, really liked it, and then just scaled it up onto the big still. So
Yeah.
all of these are made on an alembic still, copper alembic
Oh, right,
still,
yep.
which I think does change the flavour profile through a
Mm.
copper still to a computerized still.
Yeah, totally.
I do think it's a different flavoured gin when you use the traditional method.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What's a computerized still? Sorry,
It's like an ice still, or there's a few type of stills where it's all just plug in and go. Really, I mean, the computers will get everything very much perfect, really, and from the percentages and everything. But the craft for me is in the alembic, the copper stills, and I think the copper produce that different flavour profile. I've tasted gins from both sides of the fence, and I've always gone for the traditional tasting gins.
Yeah.
Again, just for our sort of uninitiated, uneducated sort of listeners and me, in terms of sort of storing gin, so once it's distilled, once it's ready, is there a particular, because you talk about sort of whiskey and you talk about like oak barrels and this, that, is there a particular storage vessel that is it flavor dependent on the type of gin you produce, is the type of storage you store it in, or is it like a standard?
No, we use stainless steel drums, so it comes out of the still around about 72%, and then we put it into the stainless steel, and we water it down to bottling strength. So and then we bottle it from the stainless steel drum. Where you're talking more of a sort of a whiskey, sort of oak aged, which will change the profile again.
Yeah,
I've seen gins that have been put into barrels as well. It changed the colour.
Yeah.
And that was more, I think, the line I was going down is that, you know, would it be the stainless steel, or would you do certain casks or certain oaks or certain woods that would then change the flavour and the profile
massively. And also when you do put it into a barrel, a wooden barrel, you can't be 100% sure what the actual end product is going to taste like, because it's somebody else's barrel, it's some other product in there from
So our friends that I'll give them a wee shout out, Strathleven Distillery, they make this gin that is, well, not stored in oak barrels, but it certainly passes through the oak barrel process, and their whole thing is it should taste of that oakiness. But you know these wee foam bananas you get, like you would maybe get them for kids and things like that, you know, you get the wee 10p bags and it's like a foam banana. That's what their gin tastes like. But that is not a bad thing. It is absolutely beautiful. But
you go for that one.
Oh yes,
their marketing is an oak aged gin, and we're saying, oh, it tastes like foam bananas, and they were like,
sounds like another garnish.
Are you sure?
I'm not being funny there, Jenny. Now you should have seen Adam's face when you said that, because Adam's face lit up and he thought, I'm absolutely all over that. Genuinely, he's all over that.
Guilt gin, Strathleven Distillers.
Yeah.
You know Adam's listening back to that and writing that down again, so you know that.
It's getting ordered, that is.
It was the first gin that ever got us away from Gordon's because it tasted of foam bananas.
Oh, really? Wow.
I tell you what, I've got a question there, because one of the things you said about both gins is the oily texture. Now, Matt, when we had you on the podcast before, I seem to recall that when you talked about the distillation process, that when it goes pear-shaped, and you've not had this happen to you, that is when it is a very oily gin and the oils of the botanicals come through, it can make it cloudy, can't it?
That's something called louching.
Louching, yeah.
That's called louching. So like when you have an ouzo and you add water, goes louchy. So it's a similar type of thing to that. You need to know where to make the cut. So the heads, hearts, and tails. The heads is what you would discard. So our citrus gin or sandbach gin contains a lot more oil, so we have to pull off a lot more of the heads before we go into the hearts. Where the Alsager gin, we don't need to do the same.
Matt, you cannot use phrases like pull off and head to the Scottish Alchemists.
Jenny's had a gin. Matt, you'll learn that Joyce started laughing, then Jenny's like literally trying to keep a poker face on her. Look at her now, she's gone.
And I didn't even notice.
He knows when to pull off the head and then he moves on.
You see, I tear up and she
And then
never
he
lets
wonders
me
why
down
it's
every single time.
Then he wonders why it's
Bring a bit of
clunky, I
humour
don't
to
know.
the podcast.
Oh, you can guarantee with the Alchemist there's humour, absolutely. It might be smutty humour, but it's there somewhere.
Interesting enough, though, bringing it back to the cloudy gin. So I did a gin school in the summertime, actually, for my birthday. And I made my own gin, which was with juniper, coriander, angelica, fennel, star anise, licorice, nettle, sarsaparilla,
Ooh.
and rowan berries, and it came in at 47.5%. I have to say, it tasted very much like Pernod. It was a very heavy aniseedy flavour to it, but it came out perfect and clear. Now, my wife made one which had mangoes and I think star anise and things in it like that. And that one came out cloudy, and I think we had to leave it for about 5 or 6 weeks before it settled. But yeah, it was interesting, and I did, I made myself look like I knew what I was on about when we were there, but it was based exactly on what Matt had said about the lounge.
Well, I remember when because I'd just been to the Edge distillery sort of a couple of times, and I remember when he said he was going there, and he had a fantastic day and a fantastic experience, and said it absolutely highly recommend it. And I'm sure that
Definitely
a lot of the distilleries that we've mentioned would probably do something similar in terms of being able to go there and have a go sort of thing. But I remember you sort of saying, you really, really, really did have a good day, and it was a great experience. And you come away with the product that you've created, and you've effectively you've chosen the flavors that would go in there, and you get to taste it and this, that, and the other. So, I mean, shout out to the Edge Distillery.
Yeah, 100%.
You had a fantastic day there, didn't you?
Yeah, it's a great concept. I think when you get to make your own gin, there's a risk it will go like say with my wife's, and you had to wait a while. To be fair, it tasted all right. Mine, I've got to be honest, I love Pernod, so I thought it was fantastic. A bit strange with the tonic. I know you do.
A couple of bad experiences on Pernod, so that's more than a few.
Yeah, I think I was there for a couple of
You were definitely there for one.
But honestly,
it was phenomenal.
Opened the door to remind everybody about the time Jenny made her own gins.
Oh, of course, the floral snatch.
Indeed.
Which was so much better than our first iteration, which was called Tadger's Hole. It was rough.
The Tadger's Hole was rough, but the floral snatch was beautifully smooth.
Dave, would you be interested in trying any floral snatch?
Have you tasted Jenny's floral snatch, David?
I think not.
He's such an innocent boy. I'll say it for him. He loves a good snatch. I'm telling you. He won't admit it, and he'll go all dead embarrassed now. But he loves a good snatch, does Dave?
But is that a floral or a spicy snatch? Which
There's a reason I gave up drinking.
And it's people like us. People like us, isn't it?
People like us, yeah. People like us.
Absolutely.
Scottish arseholes.
Well,
unfortunately, it was a micro batch that has never again seen the light of day.
Such a shame.
I know.
Well, I did one more garnish tonight. I was cutting up my garnishes this afternoon, and I made a garnish. And I said to my husband, I'm going to make a kind of Halloween-y type one, and I think it'll look like Halloween eyes. And he said,
wow. Okay, I can think of what it looks like.
I said, no, that's a pair of tits.
Jenny,
Jenny,
don't say it. Don't you say it, Jenny.
My husband said it as a pair of tits.
Joyce, just a quick question. Is your husband a sort of gin drinker? Does he drink a lot of gin? Because obviously you drink a lot.
He's a gin refuser.
Right.
He's a whiskey drinker. So I have tried really hard to find a gin that he likes, and the only one I found that he likes is Tanqueray Malacca, which you cannot get anymore for love nor money. You used to be able to buy it in duty free, and we would bring in litres at a time. Can't get it anywhere at the moment.
Really?
So he's a whiskey drinker. So he is converting me to whiskey because I like the game of guess the flavour. So I do the same. Right. I do all that. I don't ever want a full drink of whiskey, but I like to play the game. I got him a thing called the Dram Team, so he gets a box of samples every month.
Oh, yeah.
And we taste them together, and there's a wee card with what you get in it. And I said, don't tell me, let me guess. Okay, so it's a marmaladey smell, and there's apricots and there's peaches, and he'll go, oh my God, you've got 7 out of 10. I like the game, but I don't ever want a full drink of whiskey.
Yeah. Okay. Now, just curious, obviously, because you guys do gin. I was just wondering whether or not you'd sort of converted him to gin as such, or he's just. I mean, well, to be fair, whiskey in Scotland is, there's a couple of good choices up there, isn't there? So
there really is.
One or two. Yeah.
One or two. There's probably 1 or 2 bad ones as well, but I'm sure there's lots of very good ones.
I mean, we lived 30 years in England. We lived all our working life in England, and he couldn't drink whiskey. And it was only really when he came back to Scotland, he learned to drink whiskey, and now he loves it. Whereas in England, he would just have been a beer drinker. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, there's one last gin I want to talk about. And guys, you held up the bottle earlier. So, so Matt, you've just made a Christmas gin. Did you want to tell the good folks about that? Because obviously that's available to purchase at the moment.
That's a bigger version of it. That's the 50 cl bottle. So that is our 3rd year in a row. We produce same recipe, and we change the branding for put the year on, and make it a bit more Christmassy each year, and do this, that, and the other. But it's very much a winter spiced gin. So the recipe is on the bottle. So we got a lot of cardamom in there, cumin, cloves, nutmeg, vanilla. It's got a lot of ginger. The ginger pulls through really well through the still. Yeah. We don't add anything to this gin, but for a London dry, in theory, it's got a big flavour profile coming through, which we love, and we keep the strength at 48. So it's got a great winter strength about it. This one, going back to what we said earlier, this one actually pairs really well with a clementine tonic or a ginger ale.
Yeah, you could see that.
So we do at the events we do offer it up with those two.
And could you have it just as a sipper, do you think?
Yes.
Has it got a big enough profile just to sip over ice?
Yeah, that's again, that's what we do when we develop the products. We make sure we can drink them on their own first, if that's how you want it, and then tonics make it a longer drink.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so that went live at the weekend, so we're got a lot of events coming up, so we'll be.
So, do you do a limited run of that?
Yes, it's one run. It's just one run, so it's not a massive volume. So doing each and in. Well, we do 50 cl this year. We've gone a bit bigger. We normally use 25 cl bottles, but I thought we'd try it as a 50 cl this year. So here we go.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds excellent.
Does it sound fab? Yeah.
Yeah,
Adam seems to like it. So.
Oh, it was fantastic. First of all, it's right in the ballpark when you're talking about 48%. So it's spot on for me. But when you add it to a tonic, like you say, it pulls that mandarin flavour through all that. That there's a slight orangey tint to it. Just the tonic. So, I definitely, we will find ourselves at one of the craft fairs or the different places that you'll be selling it over. I'll be picking up a bottle of that. I'd like to try it, like you say, with a tangerine or a mandarin tonic. I think that would be absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I think that might be quite nice in a Negroni because of the warmness and the Campari and all that might be a nice, for me that doesn't like a Negroni, but that might be quite a nice Negroni. I like the idea.
I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to know.
Well, I was going to say what I think. What we'll do is I think we should potentially purchase something and maybe send it and north of the border and let it wind its way up north of the border and let you guys sort of have a little sort of wee taste and see what you think. And I think we spread the love and all of that, so I think that'd be quite a good thing. So obviously the three you guys north of the border, expect perhaps a bottle of their sort of Christmas gin on, and we'll send that up to you guys and let you have a little sort of Christmas present, Christmas treat, just on Tallboy Radio.
And will there be any glasses in that package?
Oh, absolutely not. Well, it depends. It depends on the kid
I'll
pulls the
not
finger out.
wash
Something to be
this one
fair.
then. Well, we better not wash them. Joyce, these labels
No.
have got to last. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll throw
the
this one in,
labels.
guys. I'll
And
throw this one in.
the all boy radio blast, the all boy radio.
Yeah,
All boy
yeah, the 3 or 4 that you've got, Matt, just package them up and then
Have you got a letter T? Do you have a letter T anyway?
we've got a Mr. T, but we've not had a letter T.
So
Nail
Andy,
varnish, it'll be fine.
yeah, Andy's occasionally on the podcast. So basically, we gave him the glass, and we under the strict instructions, don't put it in the dishwasher.
Yeah, don't dishwash it, yeah.
So his says all on radio on Aston.
Yeah, he'll learn.
Eventually. So we're up around about the hour mark. So I'll be interested, Matt, then, if you want to share out a few of the places, if you know them off the top of your head right now, where people can get hold of you and where they can find your gin over the next couple of weeks.
Okay, well, this weekend we are at Sandbach Makers Market, showcasing our Sandbach gin and all of our liqueurs. We do liqueurs as well, so a lot of seasonal liqueurs. Sunday we're at Victoria Baths in Manchester, which is the heritage building in Manchester for their winter fair. We make a gin for them, a bergamot forward gin. So that's a really, really popular place to exhibit. And then we are in Alsager for the Alsager Light Switch On again. And we've got an event in Alsager in December as well. So a little Christmas event. So probably best to direct messages and we'll give you a list. We're at quite a few places coming up.
Ideal. Absolutely ideal. So, ladies, where can people find you? Have you got any events coming up? Because you guys have been really busy. I've been following you on Instagram. You've been really busy.
Well, you can find us next weekend in Venice.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, bloody hell.
Marco Polo gin. But yeah.
Gin in Venice.
Yeah. Other than that, December is purely personal gratification.
Yeah.
Any drinking
say that.
establishment in the east and west of Scotland.
Well, we are going to see Sweet in concert.
So that's a blast from the past. I think there's only one member of Sweet left alive.
Yeah.
It's like you go to various places and it's like, oh, here's one of the original 4 tops. There must be about 40 original 4 tops around somewhere. It's like, oh, here's one of the original ones. Like, God, are you not 100 yet? Surely you get on it.
We've got no more formal events lined up for the end of this year. So
right.
We're just winding down for Christmas now. So nice, relaxing time.
Perfect.
I'll tell you what I've got booked, and it's not till summer next year though. So I'm booked to do a cruise up through the Norwegian fjords, and the ship I'm on is the Iona, and they produce their own gin on board the ship. They have a distillery on board. It's called Maribel Gin.
So basically, what you're saying is Joyce and Jenny are going to see you on there because like their faces both lit up there. You're like, oh my god!
Write that down.
Why do we not know these people? Get in touch now.
DM them.
Well, that's quite unique, isn't it? Like, which produces.
Do you think they're using seawater?
Maybe, yeah, it's a bit salty. Yeah.
It might be, might not taste very well.
Yeah.
Garnish it with a nice fresh fish.
So that brings us round about the hour mark. Dave, have you learned much about gin as a man who drinks little?
Not really, no.
You're not listening.
In the headlights.
I still don't know whether gin actually has oil in it or just has.
It doesn't have oil in it.
No, it doesn't. It's oil from the botanicals. So
it does have oil then.
Sorry?
It does have oil. So it does have oil in there.
Well, it does, but they're not. It's not. Nobody puts oil in.
Well, yeah, I knew that, but you were kind of 1 minute it's oil, and the next minute there's no oil, and then Matt talking about oil.
Specifically, some of the botanicals will have more oil in them. So, like a citrus peel or something like that would generally have more oil in it than, say, I don't know, the cassia bark that we mentioned. Maybe so it depends on the recipe. It really depends on the recipe.
All right, so there we go. I've learned something now.
Yeah, well, there you go. I hope I've made your evening, Dave.
An hour
Every
and 4
day's a
minutes.
learning day. Every day's a learning day.
Absolutely. So we will leave it to our guests to close out first. Matt, thank you very much for sharing your gins with us.
No
I'm
worries.
pleased to say they've got the reception that they deserve because they are fantastic gins.
Thank you.
You are interested and you listen to this, drop Matt a DM, find out where he's going to be. He's obviously going to be at the Alsager Light Switch on. I think I'm going to be at that event. Unfortunately, I'm working next weekend, so I can't come up to Sandwich. But I can tell you now, I've tried a number of his products, and his Christmas gin is phenomenal, worth a go. That Alsager gin for me, like I said, is genuinely in my top 5. I absolutely love that. It's a fantastic product. But did you want to say your goodbyes to our listeners, Matt?
Yeah, just thanks for everybody tonight, and another good evening, and everybody who's listened. And cheers, and hope to see you again soon. Cheers.
Indeed. Thank you. Joyce and Jenny?
Always
Thanks
a pleasure.
for introducing us to a new gin or two.
Yes.
And yes, always a pleasure, guys.
Yeah, and we can share the joy. That's what we like about tasting more and more gins, because we can share our knowledge and enthusiasm and irreverence with any other gin drinkers. And I'll certainly be sharing it on the Alsager College Old Boys page. So,
Cheers.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes. I shall look forward to seeing that.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Yeah, indeed. Dave?
Yeah, it's been great to meet you, Joyce and Jenny and Matt again. I was forewarned a bit, but I think you've probably been quite tame compared to previous episodes.
I think we are. Yeah.
But if any of our listeners have been affected by any of our subject matter today, you could go and listen to episode 79. That would be a good listen.
Which was?
It was all about not consuming too much alcohol.
Okay. I mean, funnily enough, actually, Dave, in a couple of weeks' time, we are doing an episode on non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so there's one to look forward to in the future. Tying that in nicely. Gaza?
I love spending time with guests. Matt, thank you very much. Scottish Alchemists, always a pleasure. Thoroughly enjoyed our podcast with you guys. I apologise for not inviting you when I was up in Scotland to come and join me, and I say I promise next time I will, but I said that last time and I didn't this time. So at some point, I'm sure fate will throw Tallboy Radio and the Scottish Alchemists together, and we'll do something at some point. Don't know when it's going to be. Would wholeheartedly look forward to that, because can't wait just to meet you guys and share a beer or two. It would be phenomenal. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. It's been brilliant. It always is with you guys. We have such a good laugh. So thanks again.
Yeah, absolutely. I would echo that, Gaz. Totally. Well, at some point, Gaz and I will make our way up to Scotland again. It'll probably be as chaotic and as disastrous as the last time we got
Always.
ourselves up there.
Is that when you left me on a train?
How you left yourself on a train? I just got off it, but that's another matter. So I will say thank you to everybody who's joined us tonight individually. I've loved it. I love tasting the gins myself, and I hope you guys have really enjoyed tasting them too. And I will also say thank you to you folks out there for listening, and be sure to tune in again next week when we will, of course, be talking about something entirely different.